Hello everyone! The first anniversary events have finally begun, and the strongest attacker that you've all been waiting for is here. Awakened Resna is finally in the game. Hopefully we get her in our pulls later. If not, I'll have to farm some gems or something. Anyways, very cool. First I'm going to go through all of the first anniversary updates. There's a lot of really exciting stuff. I'm sure you've all noticed there were like 6,000 gems for logging in. There's like 7,000 gems in the mail right now, which is pretty dang cool. We also have some other updates, which are kind of interesting. So we got a lot of free wishes for chapter clears. Everyone who's cleared these chapters in the past will also obtain them. I'll be doing all of those in this video. It's like 80 or 90 free pulls or something for specific banners from the past. It's pretty cool. Then we also have a couple of selectors. I will go through those as well. There's 2 different ones. Make sure you get the one that like you actually want. We have chapter 16, which kind of kicks off the main arc that we're still going through on JP, and things get pretty exciting here. So I hope you all have a lot of fun with that and some events. We also have difficulty settings for the main story finally. You can lower the difficulty of the main story. This is really, really good for all of you players that, you know, just play more casually, just kind of want to log in for main story stuff without really upkeeping your account quite as much. You don't need good gear for very easy. You probably do need levels. I don't know, I've never played on it before, but if you just want to like experience the main story in the game, you know, log in every time there's a story update. This makes it a lot easier to do that. So I guess it's not being added until January, but it is coming. I didn't realize it didn't get added straight today. They say it's coming in January, so not quite yet. I think that's a little bit late even, but I guess that's fine. Looks like everything they're saying here is not in today's update. It's going to be in a few weeks. We've had all this stuff on JP for quite some time now, like the home screen setting, which lets you change your home screen, which is very nice. It's a little lackluster in some ways, but it is very cool. I usually do mine to like, I believe it was like chapter 5 or something. I quite enjoy it. And yeah, that's about it. So there's not actually too much in today's update other than all of the pulls and gems we're getting and the new story chapter. Most of the updates, most of the new features and stuff will be coming shortly in a few weeks, but Resna's pretty dang cool. One thing that's kind of sad, if you do want to get Resna to compete in the current fire tournament, you kind of have to pull her today. Like, we have tickets coming, you know, in a few days and tickets coming here, but fire tournament ends before then. So it's up to you whether you want to wait for the tickets or actually try out in fire tournament or not, right? But yeah, hopefully I'll be able to do some fire tournament stuff like tomorrow or so. We'll see how quickly I can get the team set up if I even pull her. So anyways, let's just, yeah, so the new wishes that we have for all of the chapter stuff, you can get them here. They like revamped the beginner missions. You might remember these from the very start of your account if you remember it. So go here. There's an entire new mission system, and you can see all the tickets in here. There's tickets like every other step for each chapter, and it's very nice. So I'm just gonna take all of these, and we'll do all these pulls later in the video, but for now, let's get to the banner. So we do have one new banner. You can see here, there's a lot of banners active right now, but most of them are old banners that you can pull on for a limited time. The first up, we have the selectors. There are 2 of them. These are both character selectors. They have different pools of characters, so make sure that you spend gems on the one that you actually want, right? There are 2 of them and they have different pools. Very important. So the way this works, if you weren't around for half anniversary, you pay 3,000 gems and it can pull any character in the pool. This one goes up to Arland with Snow Totery. So these 3,000 gems can get all characters up to Snow Totery. And then on step 2, you get a free guaranteed character. You can choose any character up to Snow Totery. So they're all in here up to Snow Totery. You can pick any one character. Yeah, very nice. And then you can do the same thing for the rest of the steps. It's a total of 6,500 paid gems. And then the next one is a different pool of characters. This one is actually very limited. as you can see in here, the only 3-star characters are the Rose characters all the way up to the Dusk research team characters, Marin and Eska. So you have a very high chance, if you get a 3-star from this pull, if you get a 3-star while pulling from this, to get a more recent 3-star, a very high quality 3-star. This doesn't have any base pool characters in it, and the selectable characters are also those characters as well. So goes from Rose, Val, and Liddy all the way up to Marianne and Eska. So this is the selector I'm going to be getting. Maybe if I do, I might be selecting Heidi. I have to figure out if it's worth it for me. I probably will be, and then not going further, but we'll see. Next up, we have the Resna and Lara banner for the update. So for Chapter 16, the first anniversary banner, we have Resna and Lara. And of course, Awakened Resna is, you know, an SS tier character, an S plus tier character, whatever. She is the strongest attacker in the game. She does the most damage by far. She is just incredibly strong. She does have to be built in a very specific way, and I'll go into that when we go over the character, but I also have an entire video guide on like the Resna tournament team as of this point in like the game's lifetime, with the current gear that we have available on Global. So I will link that in the description at the end of the video. Go check that out if you're interested on that. I'm not going to go too in detail on how to build Resna for this video because I already have a video on that. So now how to build her will vary from team to team, and that video is mostly focused on tournament, but it's still fairly applicable. So yeah, anyways, on to the banner. First up, Memoria. We have Happy Birthday with this cute Resna Nizana art. This Memoria is worthless. It's fire weak point damage up, skill damage by 65% when attacking your target's fire weakness. The Summer Memoria, Promise, is much better than this, like by a lot. So this Memoria is just not really worth anything. And then we have Playing into her hand. I kind of like this art. Poor cat, her soul is left. Lara's bullying her. And this Memoria reduces the target's slash resistance by a whopping 30% for 2 attacks when attacking the target slash weakness, and has 11% speed. So this is a very, very, very strong like supportive Memoria for slash teams. It's really good on like Master Ryza if you're going to follow up with like a Logi burst or a Lonza burst or something like that, right? However, there's a pretty big problem with this Memoria, and the problem is that as of now on Global and as of now on JP, there is not a single meta slash team. So this Memoria is completely worthless. If there is a very strong slash team in the future, this Memoria may end up seeing a lot of use, but as of right now, it doesn't fit into any team, any meta, anything, anywhere. Like, you can use it, but it's not worth putting memory crystals into, because any team that you're making with it for now in the next few months just isn't good enough, right? Like, just Spark Awaken Resna, or just get Mike when she comes out, or whatever, right? Like, the Memoria is just, it's good, it just doesn't fit anywhere, right? So, it is what it is. I wouldn't recommend pulling for it. Maybe get 1 copy if you really want to future-proof, but if you're, you know, free to play, definitely don't deliberately go after this Memoria, right? If you don't spend very much. It might be good in the future, but as of right now, it's just completely worthless. But yeah, characters. First, let's go over the loser of the banner, which is Lara. Sorry, Lara, you're gorgeous, but you kind of suck. She's pretty bad. She is a slash attacker. She's kind of who the Memoria was made for, that we just talked about, and she is an ailment-focused, like, debuff support attacker. She is not good. So her burst is kind of her main appeal. After attacking, inflicts the target with Royal Authority for 1 turn, and boosts their damage received by 50% for 2 attacks. It's also an area burst, which is kind of nice. What Royal Authority does is basically, it's a debuff, not a status effect, so enemies don't have resistance to it, so it should almost always apply. And it's a debuff that will make them skip their next turn. It says a chance. I think it's guaranteed, but I don't remember. But yeah, it's basically like paralysis, except way better. It's just not very useful, right? She does give like a damage debuff, but I don't know. There's definitely situations where you can probably use her to great effect, but just have like a better defender or more damage instead. Like most situations where you can use Lara's CC to get past a battle, you can just one-shot it with like Awakened Resna, right? So it's kind of pointless having that CC on the burst when you can just do more damage instead, in my opinion. And then her other skills, her skill 2 is like boost damage when the target has a status effect. She gives herself a very small physical attack boost. It may as well not exist. And she has some delay when she has charge indicators. Does she even get... I think she only gets the charge indicator after attacking. I don't think she gets it at the start of the battle. Yeah, she doesn't. She has some healing when enemies die, which is only when she kills them, so like, And yeah, after using items, she can inflict with paralysis, I guess. I don't know. And her skill 1 is a really mediocre self buff. Like, she doesn't have damage for herself as an attacker, and her entire kit is based around inflicting weird like CC ailments and stuff. So she just isn't really that valuable in a team. CC is not super valuable in this game, especially when it's tied to a burst, especially when damage is as high as it is. So unfortunately, Lara is just not very good. And then for some reason, her leader skill is battle item damage, which isn't very good either. Just basically, and to top it all off, she's super slow. She's 220 speed. Like, Lara's not good. It's unfortunate. They could have made her good, but they did this. I've personally basically never seen anyone use her. I don't have her, and I've never used her. But I've never really seen anyone using her either. She doesn't fit into any tournament teams. She doesn't fit into any meta fast clearing teams. She doesn't fit really anywhere. She's just a weird, misguided CC bot, but she's pretty. Alright, yeah, that's Lara. Unfortunate. Feels bad. If only she was good. That would be nice. Next up we have Resna. And on the other side, Resna is completely bonkers bested. And the reason for that is because of her Awakening Resolve passive, which, when she is healed, she has a somewhat high chance to give herself 50% fire damage for one turn. So 50% for one turn when receiving HP recovery. This is any sort of healing, regen, from skills, from whatever, and you can stack this up a lot. Very often you can make it so that she's getting this buff stacked like 9 times, which is 450% damage, right? If you're getting it 9 times. However, this also stacks with damage buff A, the trait. You get 3 copies of that trait on the character and some other received buff effect, and what usually ends up happening is instead of getting 50%, she gets like 150% fire damage per buff. So if you're getting like 9 of those, it's over 1000% skill damage. It's just obviously an absolutely absurd amount of damage. She is very, very strong because of this passive alone. However, she has a really annoying playstyle where it's a somewhat high chance to get the buffs, right? So it's full RNG. It's like 50%, I believe, to get it or not get it every time she's healed. So it's full RNG. Sometimes you get 0 buffs, sometimes you get all the buffs. You're usually around in the middle, but it's very swingy. And for normal gameplay, this doesn't really matter too much. She probably has, more than enough overkill damage no matter how many buffs you get in normal gameplay. In tournament, it's very, very, very annoying because you need to reset for the optimal amount of buffs, right? So it's pretty annoying. Let's go gambling. Yeah, pretty much. She is basically gacha in your gacha. yeah. She leads to some pretty bad feeling gameplay loops. She's not super fun to play with in tournament, but seeing those 100 million damage hits pop up, the 8 nines, 99999, is pretty satisfying, and she can absolutely do that when she high rolls. So very, very strong character, even if she's not the most fun because of this, but she's really quite good. On top of that, she just has super high power stuff everywhere. Her skill 2 reduces the target's fire resistance by 25% for 5 attacks before attacking, and after attacking, it will boost her magic attack by 40% for 2 turns. So this is incredibly strong. It's 2 really powerful effects in one skill with an okay damage rate. Just very, very, very good. On top of, her having so much damage from her passive. And in tournament, it gets even better because she always has 2 of these magic attack buffs stacked up, right? And a few of the fire resistance debuffs stacked up if you're doing tournament correctly. Just very, very strong skill 2. And this is what will usually be used in tournament for damage because of these buffs and because you don't need to get a burst panel. So very, very strong skill 2. Her burst is also quite good. She is the second character we have with penetration. Penetration as a stat just pierces enemy defense. If the enemy has normal defense, it's just a small damage increase. This is about 20% more damage baseline. It's also an AoE burst, so for, normal content, she does have access to a strong AoE ability in her burst, so she can clear all enemies at once. When she attacks a weakness, she gets 100% damage increase, and also when attacking a weakness, she will make the next ally panel a burst panel. So she creates burst panels with her burst. However, usually everything's going to be dead after her burst, hopefully. If you haven't killed everything after her burst, either you're in tournament or you've done something horribly, horribly wrong. Like, just straight up, everything should probably die if she's built properly, so. And then we have our skill 1, which doesn't really ever get used. It gives her like a speed buff, some magic attack, some skill damage. It's kind of weird. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. Her other passive is 50% increased effect from positive panels, which is pretty cool. Just extra damage usually when she gets one of those. And yeah, she's just very, very, very strong. Now, she does have a gimmick that I haven't talked about yet, and that is she is a transforming character. So you see this button to switch. She starts the battle in her base Resna form. So she's not in this outfit at the start of a battle. She's actually base Resna, and she has this set of skills, which are kind of similar to base Resna skills, just a bit better. However, on the first attack, if she has her skill indicators charged, she will transform when attacking with her skill 2. So usually what happens is you get her skill indicators charged, and the first attack will be with her charged skill 2. She will transform and use the transformed version of her skill 2. So usually she transforms right at the start of the battle, but you do need to be aware to get that transformation on the first turn that you need to charge the indicators, and the way you do that is by healing her. So she needs to be healed twice before her first turn. You can do this through regen or any other means, heals from characters, whatever. As long as she gets healed twice, then she can transform, and she does need to be transformed to get the good passive where she receives buffs on being healed, right? So when she's not transformed, she doesn't get the buffs. So it's very important to get those heals right at the start to let her transform, and it'll make sense as you play her more. But yeah. Anyways, Resna, SS tier character. Now, I will say, Resna is incredibly, incredibly powerful. However, in about 2.5 months from now, we will have another attacker that will rival her and honestly be better in most cases in Mike. So Mike is a new character coming in the future, about 2.5 months. And Mike is not only stronger for general content, she's faster, she does really good damage, she doesn't have RNG. She's also currently bugged on JP, which makes her stronger than intended and makes her even better for tournament than Resna ever was. because she's bugged. I don't know if they'll fix that for global or not. They haven't fixed it on JP yet. But basically, while Resna's incredibly strong, she's not the strongest character forever, just for the immediate future, the next 2.5-ish months, like 3 months or something. So, you know, she's really, really, really good. She's just not absolutely mandatory unless you want to compete in tournament for the next couple of months. In my opinion, saving up for Mike is probably, I mean, it depends, right? Resna's super good, super fun. Obviously get her. You can't go wrong with getting her. However, she is not like the best attacker forever. I want to make that kind of clear, right? It's not like no one ever gets to her level or whatever. Obviously, Resna also can't do any fast clear stuff. She can't do good initiative shots. Like to do AoE, she needs to burst, right? You need to create a burst on her for her to do AoE. She needs to transform, so she's clearing at a minimum of her second turn. So things like, you know, Ryza Initiative, Academy Resna, like all these other really fast clear builds may end up clearing faster than Awaken Resna, but they won't do as much damage when they do it, right? So it depends on the content. In Resna, like, if you don't have quite as good gear, she's easier to get the damage on. Like, a lot of the really good initiative builds kind of want, like, a rank 5 promise to really keep up with the damage of the current game, and things like that. So, Resna's fantastic. I do recommend getting her, but it's important to be aware of her, like, strengths and weaknesses, right? She's currently unrivaled in tournament in every single element. That will change in about 3 months. And she can clear all content in the game that isn't off element towers right now very easily in like one hit with like a single use of her burst, but she will be slower than initiative teams, right? So temper your expectations, understand what she's good for, what she's used for before pulling her, and just think like, you know, how much do you care about tournament? How much would you rather use Mike in the future? Things like that. So, but she is undoubtedly absurdly strong. Anyways, that's probably enough info on the banners and stuff like that. Let's go over the recipes real quick. We have a few new recipes for the chapter. We have, as always, gear for Resna, gear for Lara, and then we actually get some usable items this time as well. So the weapon intended for Resna is terrible. Don't make this. It's bad. It's always bad. Always, always, always bad. It's 5% skill damage and 8% burst skill damage, which is 13% damage only when bursting. But Resna isn't lacking for skill damage. She gets a ton of skill damage from her passive, so this skill damage being additive with that skill damage just makes this skill damage very weak. You're better off with like some sort of crit damage weapon, or what you're really better off with is just not making a weapon for her at all right now, and waiting about, I think it's about 3 weeks, not the next banner, but the one after, we will get Resna's best in slot weapon, the Crystal Rods. That will be coming in about 2 updates, and I do recommend waiting for that. That will be Resna's best weapon forever. Honestly, almost everyone's best weapon forever. So yeah, I do recommend not making a weapon for Resna right now unless you really care about tournament, in which case you do the fan from the New Year's event. But yeah, basically, Resna doesn't have a good weapon right now, just wait. And then we have the Blaze Dress, which is, it heals her after using a skill, which sounds okay. Obviously healing can proc her passive, but you have to remember this is after using the skill, so it'll only give her a benefit on her next turn, which is okay, because when she, you know, transforms, she'll have that heal. But there's a much better item, and that is the Wanderer's Shirt, which is 23% received buff effect for fire attackers. That is her best in slot armor, period. There's nothing that even comes close. It gives an extra 10% on each heal proc she gets. It gets an extra, you know, 20% crit damage from Promise, and then any other supporter buffs as well. It scales. It's just received buff effect is the strongest stat in the game. It's super powerful, and you absolutely would rather use Wanderer's Shirt over anything else. Nothing even comes like close. Nothing's even a quarter as good probably. So the blaze dress also completely pointless. And then we have the flame hairpin, which while equipped to an attacker with fire affinity, boosts potency of received buff effects by 22%. This is the exact same as the Wanderer's Shirt I just mentioned, except on an accessory. So I'm sure, as you can probably tell, this accessory is best in slot for Resna. Yeah, do make the accessory. The accessory is absurdly powerful. I don't know why they did this. It's so strong. It's honestly a little too strong. The character is already good enough. She didn't need this, but they did do it. We have it. It's super, super good. This is Resna's best in slot accessory, period. So absolutely make this. And as far as traits for Resna go, you want skill power and damage buffet. So yeah, ideally go for those. You don't really care about burst skill power. You don't really care about crit damage. You just skill power, damage buffet on every piece of gear, and you're good. So make gear with those traits. Yeah, not really any good weapons right now, but Wanderer's Shirt and the Flame Hairpin for sure. And then we have the Lara gear, the Thorny Sly. While equipped to an attacker after attacking, boost target's damage received by 4% for 2 attacks. This item is just pretty bad in general. In the current meta, we never really have more than one attacker on the team. There's not really room for like a debuff support attacker. None of them are really good enough at it. So I wouldn't really recommend this item on much of anyone, especially when we're getting the Crystal Rod that I just mentioned in a few weeks. Then we have the Elegant Heart. While equipped to a character with Slash Affinity, when hit by an attack, boosts own physical attack by 11% for 1 turn, and it can't be stacked. This, yeah, it's not good enough. The condition of being hit, and then it can't be stacked, it's like 1 turn, it's a minor amount of physical attack. It's probably okay on Lonza, but I would just go for received buff effect. Slash has layered velvet, which is just going to be much better in general, so I wouldn't really go for this at all. And then the accessory, while equipped to a character with Slash Affinity after attacking, boosts target's physical attack damage received by 6% for 2 attacks. I don't remember if there is a better accessory than this for like Master Ryza, but it's pretty decent because it's not locked to attackers. It's just Slash characters, so it's all right. It's not terrible. It's not amazing either, but I don't remember if there's anything better. I definitely wouldn't use this on an attacker though, and it's not really going to get made very much. Master Ryza just unfortunately isn't a big part of the meta, and Slash in general just isn't, so it's okay, but not amazing. Then we have the Velvety Pancakes, which reduce all allies' damage received by 10% for 1 turn. It's an interesting buff item if you really need that damage reduction, but it's not... It's good to keep in mind. It is somewhat useful, right? I've never used it personally. It kind of shows how much damage reduction is valued on items, which is to say not very much. But if you're like lower geared or you are missing specific characters or doing sort of like challenge runs and stuff, I could definitely see it being useful. Usually it's better to just blow things away with damage than try to tank through them, but it's not bad as an item for full party defense. It is a tool that now exists in the game that didn't before, so it's good to keep in mind, but I don't think it's that usable. I believe we also have some items that are basically the same except for a specific damage type, like Biz or Magic, I think. Not sure. Anyways, it's kind of cool, but not that useful in general. Then we have the Queen's Craving, which is a knockback item. It delays the enemy with the lowest max HP by 1 turn. I've never really used it before, but it's kind of interesting as one use. I don't know. It's not quite good enough. Delay on items, it's okay. There's probably things you can do with it, but once again, usually damage is better than strategy, so. But there's probably things you can do with it. I've never used it to great effect though. I have tried before. It didn't really help. There were some times where I wanted to use it in Fire Tower, but I was always better off just going with like either healing or more damage, so didn't really work out for me. Your mileage may vary. It's, once again, it's another tool that's nice to have, but practically speaking, not that useful. But yeah, now we're through all of the boring stuff, all the new content. Now we can get to the fun stuff, right? Everyone's been waiting for the wishes. We have a lot. I'm gonna go through all of the tickets we have for the older banners first, and then we'll get to pulling for Resna, which I have 5 Maltese right now, and that's what I have right now. We'll see if I get any more later, but that's what we're doing for the video. So, first up, we have the Chapter 4 banner with Claudia and Valeria, and for each of these banners, you actually can pick a focus. I have everything from this banner already, apparently, so I'll just select the memoria as the focus and send the tickets. If you do not have everything from this banner already, I would personally recommend focusing Claudia. Claudia is... so I really like /Val. Oh god, we actually got a character. I guess we'll see. Or is it... No, it's just a character, probably. I personally like /Val a lot, and she's still somewhat competitive as a single target burster, but it's obvious a character that's almost a year old now is going to have fallen off quite a bit compared to newer characters, and she's just not quite good enough anymore, whereas Claudia is a supporter that is used on a variety of teams like, oh, hey, look, my like 4th or 5th Ompel on this account, let's go, like Swim Ryza and Swim Ryza and Swim Ryza, so Claudia has a use on a decently meta team. But yeah, that's not bad. 50 shards for Resna. Pretty happy about that. Alright, next one, and this is the Neo and Wilbel banner. I do not have Wilbel on this account, so we will go ahead and choose Wilbel. However, I don't think Wilbel... Oh my god, it's so loud. I do not think, like, either Wilbel or Neo are particularly great. Neo's kind of interesting because she gives a special trait for synthesis. So between the two, I would probably pick Neo if you don't have either of them. But honestly, it doesn't really matter either way. Neo probably does have a bit more usefulness between the two, though. Wilbel is just not a very strong character. Alright, what are we getting? Looks like a lot of nothing. Yep, and that is totally fine. Next up, we have the Izana banner. This account also has both of the characters, so let's go ahead and just send it on the memoria. Don't really care about this memoria, so, but I already have the characters, so whatever, right? And once again, looks like probably nothing. Probably. That's fine, we're not to the good banners yet. There's a couple, mostly the rose ones. We do have pulls for each rose banner. And we will be looking forward to specifically the flock one, but there's some better characters later. And if you couldn't tell, all these tickets are for main story chapter banners, so there won't be things like Arland or whatever. Next up is chapter 7. I'm missing Aisha. This memoria is a decent memoria for Resna if you don't have Promise already, and it doesn't need to be ranked up to be good. But if you have Promise, obviously it doesn't matter. I do have Promise. I'm gonna go with Aisha here because I don't have her. I think this Aisha is much, much worse than the new Aisha, but it's always nice to receive new characters, so. Between the two characters and the memoria on this banner, If you don't have Promise and you get Awaken Resna, I would go for the Memoria on this banner. And then between the characters, Aisha and Roman, go with whichever one you like more. I don't think either of them are particularly good enough. Aisha's probably a bit stronger, practically speaking. Roman is a fairly weak attacker. And Aisha is, if you don't have a better defender, she is at least a defender that has some sort of like defensive utility. So, you know, they're both pretty weak though. Alright, next we have chapter 8, I believe. And I am missing Logi here, so let's just select Logi. I think between the two characters here, Logi wins, but neither of them are very good. Unfortunately, Logi is a breaker that requires breaking to do things, and it's just too hard for him to break anything in current content. So he used to be good when he came out. He could actually break things and give his crit buff, but nowadays he's not so good. And Yuna has a really bad execute gimmick that just is never relevant. The Memoria is actually decent. It's one of the better like physical attacker Memoria that's not Promise, but obviously Promise just beats everything. So like, yeah, attacker Memoria kind of low stocks. I did pull a Memoria here. This is the Academy one. That's pretty good actually. It's not really used because it's burst skill damage, but it is a good 11% supporter Memoria. I'm actually pretty happy about that. That's pretty nice. Also has, you know, the funny art. It's pretty nice pickup randomly off there. One of the better Memoria you can get randomly. Alright, on to Rose. Now I do have everything from this banner, except the Memoria, obviously. Now this Memoria, once again, it's just not really worth anything. It's not really worth anything because of Promise. Unfortunately, Promise just obsoleted like half the Memoria in the game, so that's gonna be a recurring theme every time I talk about Memoria, right? Promise. Obsoleted half the Memoria in the game, if you have it. So like, yeah, it is what it is. I hope you got it. If you didn't, I'm sorry. As for the characters on the banner, if you don't have them, I recommend featuring Rose Liddy. Rose Val obviously used to be very strong for tournament, but when they raised the damage cap, that kind of, you know, she fell out of favor a lot. She's still somewhat usable for tournament, but you're gonna have a better time with Awaken Resna. However, Rose Liddy is really good in tower. Even off element, she's really good at floor 30 in a lot of towers. Yeah, she's a very strong defender, especially when you have setup time, so really good. And then this banner I don't have anything from, and Fierce is best girl forever. She's cute today too. I love her. We're gonna select Fierce. I recommend selecting Fierce even if you already have her because she is the best and she deserves it. Heidi is better. You're wrong. Alright, this is the one that really matters. Come on. I don't think I got Fierce. Maybe it's just holding the sparkles for later. Maybe we actually did get Fierce. Or maybe we didn't. Life is sad. Fierce hates me. It's fine, I have her on JP. That's all that matters. Fierce is actually quite good in Ice Tower as well, which can be fairly hard for a lot of people. And she's cute. Yep. Fierce is good. Realistically, Heidi is the stronger character between the two because of her AoE force break. She's the only character in the game with an AoE force break. But Fierce is somewhat usable for certain things, so she's not... They're both really good. Heidi's probably better though, but they're both fine. Fierce is useful in Ice Tower, and she gets better with the Memoria later, and there's certain like meta things that make her slightly more usable than she used to be, but she's not good. I just like her. Alright, the final one. Flock and Sue. Now, normally, I don't have Sue, so I would pick her, but this memoria is the best memoria in the game for supporters. You want as many copies of this as possible. All of the whales on JP have like 10 copies of this or more, because it's just that strong. So I'm gonna be selecting the memoria, and hopefully you pick up a copy here. That would be super nice. Oh, we got a wink. There's a chance. If I got it, I probably wouldn't even fuse it. I would keep it as another base to put crystals into. But looks like we didn't. That's unfortunate. But yeah, this memoria is crit damage when equipped to a supporter. It's very good. It scales with buffet. Like I said, all the whales have like 10 or more copies of it on JP. Like, you often use 2 of them for tournament, right? At like the top level, so just incredibly powerful memoria here, but we didn't get anything. That's fine. I got 1 memoria and 1 3-star in all those pulls, didn't I? That's okay. Not a big deal. But yeah, that was those pulls, and I guess next up we have, wherever the banner is, Resna. So I'll be doing my pulls today. I have 50 right now. Hopefully we get her. If we don't, then I'll have to figure something out. I do want to do like fire tournament with her before it ends. Alright, 1 wink. But yeah, these are the pulls that really matter. The previous ones are nice if you're like a newer account trying to fill out your character's selection, but for me, overall those pulls didn't matter too much. These are the pulls we care about. This one, so far, not looking like much of anything. Yeah, basically nothing. Oh, we did get a memoria. This one's not very good. But it is new, so 1 for the collection. Alright, let's go again. If I do miss on these pulls, I have a lot of gems I can farm up, so that's nice. Looks like nothing again. I'm just gonna say it. 0 winks is like almost always bad. Sometimes it can happen with 0 winks, but it's almost always bad. Alright, tickets didn't work. Actually, funnily enough, when I pulled for Resna on JP, my tickets didn't work, but the first pull with gems got her, so that'll happen again, right? Yeah, definitely. For sure. And back then, we knew she was strong, but we didn't realize like quite how strong and dominant she would actually end up being. So I was just pulling her because I'm like, yay, Resna cute. But yeah, she's really good. She was obviously strong, but it was hard to tell just how much damage she would be capable of getting. And yeah, spoilers, it's absurd. Lara for sure. Yeah, hopefully that's not going to come to pass. Oh look, another random memoria. This is the cute one with Aisha petting Yuzana. What does it do again? Attacker area damage, yeah. There's a reason no one uses this. I'm getting a lot of random new memoria today though. That's the 3rd one, I believe. And one of them was actually good, so that's cool. Alright, 4th pull. Okay. Alright, nothing. Looks like nothing. Definitely nothing. Interesting thing is, I think this puts the pulls today about 100, and I've only gotten 1 3-star character, so that's kind of unfortunate. I did want to get a decent amount of 3 stars today. Oh look, another memoria. Instead, all the luck is going to Memoria, apparently. Oh, look, another one. What is going on? They're both new, by the way. That's like 5 new Memoria today. And they're all worthless. Like, I don't care about any of them. But, what the heck? Alright, last pull. Then we're out of gems. It's Memoria Day, indeed. Okay, sorry. I do care about one of them. One of them was good. I did want more 3-star characters, though, to get the stones for pieces for Resna. Like, that would have been nice. And this pull looks like completely doomed. That's fine, it's only 50 pulls. We weren't expecting her to begin with. I do have to scrounge up some more gems for medals, but I'll spark her if I have to, so whatever, right? Oh, I didn't get jump scared by a Memoria again. Very cool. Okay. Well, no Resna for now. It is what it is. But yeah, I wish you all better luck than what I had, and hope you all have fun with Resna, putting her together, doing fun things with her, doing tens of millions of damage, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.